called the Boonslick Road. It leads from St. Charles, where we're going to have lunch, out to far west in Howard County to a Salt Lake, because we're talking 1818.
Wow.
And this community developed along here.
I got a question for you.
Let's hold all questions. No, they didn't have cars.
No.
1818. They're using rivers and creeks, and this is the first major road across Missouri, the Boonslick Trail. It follows an earlier Indian trace. And this community had developed, and in 1829, Archer and Louisa are brought by James H. Alexander to Missouri. As you know, we've covered that. What happens is after James H. Alexander dies in 1835, and after that, there's these 4 small children, and they're orphans. The oldest is John, and he's 10 years old. And William Camble is James H. Alexander's wife's uncle. William Camble owned this property, and he takes charge of the slaves. He has ownership of the slaves and the property, and he takes the children back to Rockbridge, Virginia, and comes back here. When he goes, he leaves Archie in charge of the slaves to build this house.
Wow.
This is the same house that when Archie ran off to the Union Army to report the secessionist activities, had the ice house that had arms, guns, ammunition, and things for the Confederates. He was reporting William Campbell's activities, James Naylor's activities.
Yes.
You're getting a picture.
Yes, ma'am. Keep it going.
He is reporting on those activities. He's a smart man. Maybe he knew that all he had to do was to report those activities, to thereby be showing that they are treasonous, and thereby he should be free.
You're smart. Smart.
So this is where he and Louisa lived from 1829 to about 1846 on this property. This road behind you,
His first wife.
his first wife Louisa, and Louisa and William, Archie lived here on this property. Now there's a road right behind here that it's amazing that in all of the progress as you've seen today, that this still stands.
Oh, wow. Is there a reason? I mean, they didn't know. No one knew or understood.
Nobody
the
fought
history of
any
this.
preservationist battles.
Yeah.
Nobody said anything. I will give credit. We have a county executive, Steve Ellman, who is very much an excellent historian.
Yeah.
And as the county executive and a county historian as well, I'm sure he played a role in the fact that this did not get disturbed. And I know this story because years ago as an archivist, the Post-Dispatch called me and said, can you tell me why this amazing house still exists?
I think the overall reason is why we're here standing here today.
I think so too. And this was built in 1836. Now, when they did that division back in 1846 into the 4 lots for the 4 children and separated them up, Louisa would have gone and was sold and became the ownership of James Naylor.
Right.
James Naylor had a mercantile, and he was the postmaster, and he lived right across the road. But you can see how close now Louisa was to Archer. It's not like they were very very much separated, and they had slaves would have Sundays as their free day. So that was most likely they had good constant communication, but this is where Louisa came back to after the Civil War to get her belongings. And Errol Alexander tells a story in his book that he says that Louisa came back and that there's an altercation between Louisa and James Naylor's wife. That's what he claims had happened at that time. I do not know. I have not researched that story. This is why it's important to understand the children's names and his story and his lineage as well.
So Louisa had a confrontation with the ex-slave master's wife.
Correct.
Just want to make that clear.
That's very clear. And
perhaps she was angry about the fact that her husband had a lot to do with stopping what was going to happen.
it probably had something to do, it could have had, perhaps it had something to do with the fact that James Naylor could have perhaps had relations with Louisa, because there are children that claim to be children, but it has a white father's parentage.
You may call it relations, we call it rape. I had to put that on there?
That's not necessarily true.
Not necessarily true,
No,
but not always true. But, you know.
Not necessarily. Sometimes.
And you know the name of those, like of that line, potentially that line.
I've done an ancestry tree for the white families for both the William Camble and the James Alexander family and the Naylor family. So that is something that a lot of times that when African Americans are researching their genealogy, that they don't understand that you have to track the activities. Not only, you can't track the activities of the slaves. They're not people. There are no names, there's no information, there's no documentation. You have to follow the activities of the people that own it. And so that's how much of this story I'm able to tell you.
I see.
Do you know where the slave quarters were here or not?
No. I cannot say where the ice house was that had the arms in it. I don't know where any of that was. I've just known about this house for years. I'd like to nominate it for the National Register. I've talked to the people that own it, but just recently I've been trying to get in touch with them for years. I'd love to get a picture of the family in front of this house. And when we are finished here, I want you to understand that the distance from room